Hello, everybody, and welcome to season 2 of Queer Talk. Queer Talk is a podcast by Fighting Fear. Fighting Fear is a community for queer people by queer people. And you can find us more about us on our website, www.fightingfear.co.uk, and our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn, Fighting Fear Community. Today, we have two very special guests. And they're going to introduce themselves, but just a little bit of background. So we have the parents of 3 queer people that we have on our podcast today. And the purpose of today's podcast is really to explore what is it like for parents who have queer kids. So I'm going to let you introduce yourselves.
All right. Hi. Yeah, my name's Daryl. Sydney, Australia. Father of 3 beautiful children. Grew up in Australia, stayed in Australia. Not much exciting things about me. Just happy standard life, really, as far as I'm concerned. I've done a lot of things in my life. Started off truck driving, went right through truck driving. Now working for a private ambulance company as a regional manager, and just gone from there and enjoyed life.
Thank you so much, Daryl.
Okay, Hello, my name is Pat. I'm the wife of Daryl and the mother of 3 beautiful, loving boys. What can I say? I work full-time, nothing really exciting, done a bit of travelling with Daryl over the years and things like that. Just very much family orientated. My family are my life. Definitely.
Thank you both. Thank you, Mom and Dad. So I was really excited to hear about your family, actually, when I met Mitchell, your second son, and he told me that he had a family where all 3 siblings were queer. I was like, I need to interview your parents. And he was like, why? I was like, because we never get to hear about the perspective of parents. We often hear what it's like for the kids growing up, but we never, or at least I never get to hear about, how our parents, what was the journey for them? What's their experience? The good, the bad, the difficult, the learning experience, etc. So I guess that's the background, isn't it? Like, I got in contact with Mitchell. Like, please ask your parents if they'd be willing to talk. And thank you so much for this opportunity. So let's start off with your first son, Reese. When did you know that Reese was queer? So
Reese, he was a bit of a surprise. When you think of like queer people, you got like probably growing up as like a stereotype. Reese was totally opposite of that. He's totally opposite. He was on his 23rd birthday. He told us we were actually out for dinner, and we actually invited a girl that he was seeing, not so much seeing, but a good friend of his, and was sort of trying to push him into that direction. It was so much of a surprise. And he just came out in the car park afterwards and said, "Oh, by the way, I'm gay." We've gone, "Oh, okay. As long as you're happy, that's the main thing, mate."
And what was the reaction for you? Because it sounds like you set him up with this girl.
My first words were, "I would have thought your brother more than you," but it was like, "Mate, it's fine. As long as you're happy, it's your life. You've got to live it the way you. As long as you're happy, life's too short. You're gonna be happy no matter what you do." So it was like, "Yeah, cool." We only had like a 10-minute chat or so.
Yeah.
Then next day we had another chat, and it was like, "Mate, look, I don't care how you are, how you feel, whatever. As long as you're happy." You are who you are. So we're kind of lucky. A little bit of history. My sister has 2 boys, and they're both gay as well.
Oh, okay.
And they came out before that. So there was a little bit of, we had a bit more of an introduction to that type of thing. But it was kind of like, okay, well, you're gay, mate. It's the way you are.
And you said you thought your other son is Mitchell. You thought was already had he already come out or not?
No, he hadn't come out. No, but it was just, I don't know. It was always some of his mannerisms and type of thing. You know what I mean? It's sort of with Mitch. But even when Mitch did come out, it was a bit of a surprise as well. But yeah. He had a girlfriend at the time when he told us as well. So yeah, a bit of a surprise as well. But again, it was like Reese kind of break the ice, so to speak. Yeah, so to speak. But yeah, it was just all as long as you're happy, it's the main thing. We'll support you whichever way. They're your kids. You're going to love them no matter what. Yeah. So yeah, just be there for them.
When Reese came out, I have to admit, shocked. I was surprised. But it was a couple of weeks I was thinking, no, he's going to turn around and say, no, I'm not, or I've changed my mind or whatever. And I have to admit, I found it harder to cope with. So there's gays on Daryl's side of the family. There wasn't any on mine. And I know it sounds selfish, but my immediate reaction was, oh, how's my family, my siblings going to take it? I knew some will be okay, and I knew others wouldn't be. But in the end, my siblings were accepting of it all. They were just fine, and it helped. And then the first person I told outside the family was a work colleague of mine, and she was so supportive of me that I knew that I could do it, you know. And then after a couple of weeks, I was fine, but I sort of made it about me. How am I going to cope with it? And then realised, well, Reese had gone through a lot more to get to that point to tell us than what I'm going through. You know what I mean? So like he had a lot more to work out and to accept and things like that.
Yeah. So I think it was the girl he was friends with pushed him to saying, you have to tell your parents.
Yep.
Well, all his friends kind of knew, except for us. Yeah. So it was, and he got sort of pushed to that direction. So you got to tell your parents. You got to tell your parents. And I think he was a bit apprehensive at first to say something first. But like he was the first one, so I don't know. I don't think he knew how to react. But it was just like, okay, mate, that's it. Yeah, okay, it's you.
He actually told your sister.
He told my sister
before us.
My sister with the 2 gay sons.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think it was?
Sorry?
Why do you think he told your sister first?
I don't know, probably because, I don't know, something, he probably didn't, I don't know whether he didn't want to disappoint us, maybe, or something along those lines or something. I said to him, mate, you've got our support no matter what, so.
Mum, you were saying that you were initially quite worried about how you would cope. And I understand that you know you come to realize actually it must have been harder for your kids than it would have been for you. But what were your worries?
Acceptance. Not so.
Acceptance by others.
By others, yeah. That to me, it would be hard for them in the workplace and everywhere in life in general to be accepted. That was my biggest worry. Yeah.
You also mentioned that you were a little bit worried about some members of your family being critical or not accepting. What did you worry they would do or say?
I just initially thought they might turn their back on us, especially on the kids. But then I realised, well, if they do, that's their problem. They're not meant to be in our lives, but they've been all being supportive, so that's good.
Excellent. And thinking about your friend that was supportive for you at work, what support did she offer? It would be really helpful to know.
She just acknowledged it all, and just said, "Oh, that's fine. That's just." That's the way it is, and started telling me about friends that she knew that were gay and things like that. And at the end of the day, it was like, okay, I can talk about this. People are I don't have to explain too much. They understand. It's more prevalent. It's more, more people know, people know gay people more than you think they do. Like it's more of acceptance as well of the wider community.
Especially us growing up in the, we were born in the 60s, so growing up in the 70s and 80s, it was totally different times. Yeah.
Attitudes back then were completely different.
Yeah.
And where did you grow up? Because you're based
We
in
grew up
Sydney,
in
right?
Western Sydney.
Yeah.
Mount Druitt. So it
What's it
was
like in Sydney growing up, seeing queer people or hearing about queer people in the news, for example? What kind of things were you exposed to?
we didn't really have much exposure back then. It was more kept to themselves and like, I don't know, call it underground if you want to call it like an underground type thing. It wasn't more out in the open as like it is now. It was very kept in the background. And those that were gay never talked about it and all that because, well, back then it wasn't accepted sort of thing. It was, Like personally, I didn't see it. I didn't have any friends who were gay or anything, but even still, it wouldn't have worried me back then. So, but
I guess one of the things that you would have been exposed to with your generation would have been the AIDS crisis.
Yes.
And I wonder if, knowing about it and seeing it on the news and hearing about it from perhaps, colleagues or friends or anyone else, did you have any worries about that with your kids?
Oh, yeah. Definitely worries about that because they're, the lifestyle is totally different from what we know it as, and there's more risk to them involved. And it's kind of like, well, you've got to have that little bit of a talk and make sure that they're okay and they're safe in that as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How was that? How was that talk?
It was all right. It's like,
It wasn't much. It was virtually everything was under control.
Yeah.
They already knew about that of taking precautions and and things like that. So because they were more into it and they knew more about it than what we did. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I guess this is something that often queer kids have to go through. They have to go through their own sex education, whereas if you're straight, often the mum will talk to the daughter or the dad will talk to the son about the birds and the bees and sex and condoms and pregnancies and things like that. Were there any conversations that you were worried about having with your kids? Or the conversations that you thought, this will be awkward?
Really? No, not really worried about any conversations. It's just like growing up, we had the normal conversations with them because back then, if you want to call it normal, as in normal, but when we found out they were gay, it's like a few little different little conversations. But like I said, they more educated us than anything. Which was good.
How was that for you? Like knowing that the kids know more and they were teaching you. How did that feel?
Good because you know that they know what to look out for, sort of thing. You know what I mean?
So it's reassuring.
Yes, it's very reassuring. Yes. Yeah.
Because they've done their research and got all their information they need to know.
Yeah.
Which is good because we didn't know.
So thinking about, at this point you've got Reese and Mitchell, both of them have come out. You've also got your third son, Cody. What point did Cody come out?
Well, Cody came out. He told us this is back when Cody was before he trans. He said yes, I'm gay, and it was kind of like okay, fine, that's. Yep, it's all good with that. And then when about a year later.
Oh, less than
a year later.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said I'm not happy the way I am, and I'm gonna start my journey, my trans journey.
I got home from work one day and he said you need to speak to us, and we're thinking okay, and then he said, "No, you've always said to us you want us to be happy." And we said, "Yeah." That's it. The bottom line is we want our kids to be happy. And he said, I now identify as a male, a transgender and things like that. I said, okay then. So that was all a new learning thing for us.
That was a very big shock for us.
Yeah.
It was something we were not expecting at all.
No.
How old was he at the time?
Sorry, Cody was...
He would have been about 23, 24.
23, 24, about that,
By up till 23, 24, he was presenting as a girl, as a woman.
Yes, correct.
Okay. So
always.
by then, had you seen any signs in terms of them presenting as male?
No, not presenting as male. He's always been a tomboy, so to speak.
Okay.
But that growing up, he had his brothers and all his cousins and that were males as well. So he's always been in that environment. So he's always, been more
quite comfortable in that environment.
Sorry.
So he felt quite comfortable in that masculine environment.
Yeah,
Definitely.
very. Yeah, that's why he grew up in that environment.
Yeah.
And you said this was quite a shock. You weren't expecting it. How was it for you? So
Sorry?
So how was that for you? So you received this news. What did you do with it? How did you sit with it? Where did it go?
Initially, it was like I said, a big shock. I had to go and do research on it because I wasn't expecting nothing about it. So I went on quite a few websites, looked at other parents that have been through that journey as well, read their experiences and sort of everything as well, and just to help sort of me understand what was going on and everything else. It was also there was a grieving period. You were losing your daughter, you were gaining a son. So there was a grieving period. You felt like, I've lost my daughter, but it's the same person.
Yeah, you haven't lost a child.
It was just the very initial stage. It was like, I'm losing my daughter. But then once you've done all your research, find out more about it, read other people's stories and all that, and knew sort of what was going on and what to expect, it was like, more not so much understanding, but more realising what was going on.
And how was it for you?
For me? Initially a shock as well, but then you accept it pretty quickly because you just sort of, the moment he said to us about it, you can see the weight lifting off his shoulders and you knew he was making the right decision.
Exactly. He was so much happier within himself.
Truly so much happier. Yeah, definitely. The only thing I found difficult, I have to admit, was when he said that his birth name was a dead name, and that got to me because it was like saying that person's dead. Well, the person's not dead; they're just changing the way they act and they talk and what they identify as. I refer to that name as previous name or past name or something like that, rather than dead. That word dead I didn't like.
But his previous name before that it's always going to be with us. Growing up, that's who he was at the time. Through all the home videos and photos and that, we've still got all them, and it's kind of part of his journey, really. So
it's not like you've tried to erase pre-transition Cody.
No.
Lives.
Pre-transition Cody's always going to be present. Always be there with us. Cody, we have got a photo in our bedroom. Three. Cody stayed over a few times when we were away, and he slept in our bed. And we've come home and he's put a different little picture on that actual picture himself. But that's
doesn't like looking at previous photos. So that's something we have to work on later. But he's happy.
He's happy.
He's
very
really happy now.
Yeah, and it's the way he is, and it's just something we're very proud of him.
Yeah, definitely.
Very proud of him.
He may change his name and his gender,
but it's the same person.
But he's the same person. He's the same caring, loving. Because I look at him and I see Cody, but I see that same child that's a loving, caring, understanding person that I gave birth to. You know.
Yeah.
And the hard part was for a while was the pronouns. Remember to say
getting the right pronouns for us. And
his names, and we flipped up initially. And,
but it was good. Still slip up occasionally. It's like, she said, no, he said, it's like, but it was like 23 years.
It's 23 years conditioning, isn't it?
That's right. It is exactly.
Takes a little bit of time to get used to something new. If I
Yeah.
understand correctly, he's 28 now.
Yeah, now, yes.
Yeah. So it's been what, 3 to 4 years since he transitioned?
About that,
Yeah.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And how's
Yeah.
that journey been? The 3
It's,
years, post transition for you.
for us, it's been fine. Like, we've had no problems. Been there, support him in anything he wants. Yes, for us, it was like at the beginning getting used to it, and now it's just like
Automatically.
it's automatic. Cody's our son.
Yeah.
As simple as that. Yep.
Fantastic.
People ask you, children I got three
three
boys. Three beautiful boys.
Yeah.
And that's the way. Yeah.
You mentioned that you did a lot of research and you went on some websites
Yep.
and some information about how other parents dealt with it.
Mhm.
Were
Yep.
there any horror stories that like freaked you out?
There were stories of parents coming up with rejection and all that, and I couldn't get my head around that.
Mhm.
They're your children. You can't reject your children. They're your flesh and blood. But stories of people rejecting them and wanting nothing to do with them and all this type of stuff. That's
Mhm.
kind of no. But then there was a lot more positive stories out there than that. So
Good.
which was really good. So it was and sort of what to expect in the sort of coming years and all that type of stuff as well. So Google was my friend back then, so it was good. So yeah.
Any parents that you were able to meet or speak to?
No, we didn't, because we didn't know anyone else like that.
Okay.
No. There were some of the websites did have I don't know what you call them, support groups if you wanted to join them. I don't think I needed a support group.
Mhm.
I was but I knew they were there if I needed to get to it. But I was quite fine just learning what was going on and all that as well, and just getting over the initial grieving period, so to speak.
Mhm. So this is a question for both of you, and going back to the reactions of other people, but specifically within the family, the reactions of grandparents. So you mentioned that your mum, you were worried about your siblings. What about both of your parents?
Well, my dad had passed away by then. For all three of them. My mother was still alive. She was when I told my mother about Reese, because she already knew about my sister's two sons. Her first words were, "Oh, another one of those, is he?" And it's like, Mum, it's
No, exactly. Yeah, it was, the words were, "Oh, one of Sharon's mobs."
You want a Sharon's mob, which is the
Sharon, the two gay boys.
She was okay with it. She wasn't didn't reject them or anything.
No.
But her being from a very older generation than us, it was more, I don't know if she accepted it or just lived with it. You know what I mean? It was that was my mum. Your mum? My
mum was still alive when Reese and Mitch came out, but her health wasn't the greatest, and so she was quite elderly. So I didn't tell her, because I just thought it would be something that she would have problems grasping and probably worry about, and it was just additional information that she didn't need to know. You know?
And when Cody said he was both our parents had passed away by then. Both had gone. So so there was nothing there. But even when Cody came out, my two sisters, they were fine. They accepted it, not a problem at all.
My family, my siblings accepted. They've been really good.
Generally, across the family, it was actually quite a positive reaction.
Yes, definitely.
Both families, it was good, which made it a lot easier for us as well.
Well, I mean, I think one of the things that often makes the journey of trans kids or any queer kid really difficult is not necessarily the parents, is often the extended family. And it's parents worrying about the extended family that makes it difficult. What will the family say? Parents worrying about that, but it sounds like actually you didn't have any of that. And you were also thinking if they did reject, well, then they don't have to be in part of their family. They don't have to be.
That's right. Exactly right.
They're lost.
Exactly. No, we're very lucky with that.
Were there negative reactions from anyone? You know, greatest neighbors, colleagues?
Probably next door neighbour at the time, one of our next door neighbours.
Yeah, not there now.
He's not there now. He was a bit. He said he accepted it, but it was always little remarks here and there.
Yeah.
I think
Making the comments?
Yeah, little comments here and there. But he was the type of person that would joke a lot of stuff like that as well. So you don't know whether I couldn't tell if he was actually just joking about some of his little comments or whatever. But in general, I think that everyone pretty much accepted.
Yeah.
It was.
How was that for you? Like hearing someone making these little comments about your children?
I'd just brush him aside and just ignore it.
That's
it was the best way. It's the way he was. He was. It's the way he was. So, but yeah, just brush it aside and ignore him and just change the subject completely. But it was only like, I remember him saying, when he found out about Mitch, he goes, I'm not surprised there. I saw him running around outside with a butterfly net once before, trying to catch butterflies when he was little. But I already knew, and sort of thing. It's just like, whatever. Yeah. But
he would always bring it up.
Always bring it up. Always bring it up all the time.
The guy knew before everyone else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Yes.
But no.
This is something quite stereotypical I'm going to ask, and apologies if it sounds really stereotypical. It's supposed to be. But I guess one of the things that often parents worry about with queer kids is grandchildren. Right? Or not being able to have grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
That's the worry that they often come up with. Is this something that came up for the two of you?
We're ready to be grandparents.
Yeah, love to be grandparents. But
if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen.
That's right, exactly. And what happened down the track? We can still be grandparents down the track. Initially, it's kind of like, because you see your kids growing up, you have your sort of ideas of what it's going to be like in the future and all that, and it all sort of changes when they change right around. It's kind of like, let's put a stop to that for quite a while. Now it's sort of, it doesn't phase us.
No.
My son's got 2 cats. They're our grandkittens. But down the track there's a possibility still with probably one, maybe 2 of them. Maybe. So if it happens, it happens, and if it doesn't, well,
whether they go natural or adopt, it doesn't matter. Yeah. But there's no pressure on them.
It sounds like you're very open to a modern family. So you mentioned 2 of them got kittens, cats. I know Mitch has cats, right? He's got 2.
Yeah, they're grandkittens.
So it sounds like you're open to the idea of a diverse family, whether it's pets that they take on, whether it's adopted kids, whether it's natural kids. You're open to a diverse family.
Yes,
definitely.
Yeah, whatever way they decide to do it. It's like I said, it's their life. They have to live their life the way they want to live their life. If they decide to have children, adopt children, well, that's fine. They're part of our family there. It's just the way it is. If they want to have it surrogate way, go for it. It's whatever. But it's just the way life is. And then, like I said, they've got to live life so they're happy. That's the main thing. As long as they're happy, life is way too short as it is. So but everyone has to be happy. And it's just like, move on, get on with everything.
And if they don't want to have kids, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, either way.
Yeah.
And thinking about other parents who may have queer kids, whether they have a lesbian child or transgender children, 1, 2, or all of them. What kind of advice would you give to parents?
Be there to support them.
Or dad, whoever, actually.
Yeah, be there to support them.
Yep.
Be part of their life. Grow with them. And be there for them when they need you.
Exactly. They're still your children.
Yeah.
They haven't changed.
Same person they were when growing up. And exactly the same person. Just
because they may have a different name or dress differently or whatever, they're still your children. And, it's got to be unconditional love.
That's right. Exactly. and just, like I said, be there for them.
What was helpful for you going through this journey? What helped you?
Each other.
Each other, yeah. Talking to each other, being there for each other as well.
Yeah.
Be quite open when we have our discussions or whatever.
Yeah.
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 One was,
It was great having support.
yeah.
Even like I know I can talk to my sisters quite openly about anything as well. So there's always support there from the family side. You're the same with your family.
To an extent.
To most of them.
Yeah.
Yep. It's just, and just having that support there, it really helps. Give us support from each other or whatever. Yep. And being able to talk to the kids as well.
Yeah.
It sounds like communication between the two of you, but also supporting each other, but also being open to outside support as well.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like if we need something, I know people we can talk to.
Yeah.
And this day and age too, there's a lot more support groups out there as well. And just knowing they're there if we really need them, that's great.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
If you're struggling with anything, just ask for help. You know.
Yeah.
If you want any questions, you ask. You seek those answers, and that really helps. Yeah, Google if you want to.
Never try and go through things by yourself.
No,
you can't do that.
No,
you need to be able to talk to people.
Yeah.
Yeah. But having a supportive family is really great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, both of you. It's been a pleasure to talk to you about your family and learn a little bit more about how it was for both of you. It's been an honor to have you. And
thank you
for sharing this. I think there's lots of people out there who would love to hear what you've had to say, and I think they benefit a lot. Parents who have queer kids, parents who worry they might have queer kids and don't know what to do about it. I think this will be quite reassuring for a lot of them. So thank you. And maybe hopefully to the kids are worried about coming out to their parents. So I think it's been an amazing.
Thank you.
I wouldn't. Kids that are worried about coming out to their parents, it is a worry for them, but trust your parents. Don't be scared of your parents, what their reactions will be. Yes, there might be initial shock and all that to start with, but just help them along your journey as well.
Both of you seek help, like for each other. Yeah, don't try and do it on your own.
And talk is the best thing. Talk to people.
Thank you again. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Fighting Fear, and this is Queer Talk. Queer Talk is a podcast by Fighting Fear. Fighting Fear is a community for queer people by queer people. You can find out more about us on our website, www.fightingfear.co.uk, or you can follow us on our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter and LinkedIn, Fighting Fear Community. Thank you once again to both of you.
No worries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.